Welcome to Speak Peak English. Today we are going to practice listening and speaking skills with the story, The Horror Stories Night. Get ready for some spooky fun and listen carefully. The Horror Stories Night. It was a cold autumn evening, and the Matthews family gathered in their cozy living room for their annual Horror Stories Night. The room was dimly lit, with shadows dancing on the walls from the crackling fire. Mom, Dad, and their elder son Jake sat on the couch, while little sisters Emma and Lily snuggled together under a big blanket, their eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Who's ready for a scare?" Mom asked, leaning forward with a mysterious grin. "We are," the girls answered, a mix of excitement and nerves in their voices. Mom settled back, took a deep breath, and began. "It was a dark and stormy night," Mom started in a low voice, "and a young girl named Clara was alone in her grandmother's old manor. As the clock struck midnight, she heard a piercing scream from upstairs." Emma and Lily tightened their hold on the blanket. Clara rushed up the stairs and saw a flickering light in her grandmother's room. Trembling, she pushed the door open. The room was empty, but a low, moaning voice came from the wardrobe. She crept closer, heart racing, and as she opened the door, a figure jumped out. The girls gasped, but instead of a ghost, it was just Grandma's old nightgown, filled with pillows, swaying in the wind from a broken window. It seemed the ghost was just upset because the door kept slamming every night. Emma and Lily burst into laughter, the tension dissolving. Dad chuckled. "Nice one, honey, but I think I can top that." The girls turned their attention to him, eager for more. "There's a village deep in the woods," Dad began, "where no one goes out after dark. They say the woods are haunted by the whispering shadows." He paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. One brave boy named Victor decided to uncover the truth. One night he followed the shadows as they floated through the trees, whispering secrets. Emma and Lily leaned forward. The whispers grew louder. "He's here, he's here." Victor's heart pounded, but he kept going. Suddenly, the shadows turned and rushed at him. Dad paused dramatically. Victor froze as they surrounded him. But then they whispered, "Want to join our midnight snack club?" Turns out, they were just hungry bats munching on berries. The girls burst into laughter, imagining the spooky shadows snacking on fruit. Jake grinned. "Okay, my turn. Get ready." Emma and Lily settled down, knowing Jake's stories always had the funniest twists. "There was once a girl named Lucy who found an old, dusty doll in her attic," Jake began, his voice low and eerie. Its red eyes seemed to follow her, and that night she heard a scratchy voice saying, "Lucy, I see you." The girls gasped. Lucy saw the doll at the foot of her bed. She locked it in a closet, but the next night, the voice came again, "Lucy, I'm getting closer." The doll was beside her pillow, smiling strangely. Jake paused dramatically. Terrified, she threw the doll into a well, but as she turned around, he dropped his voice to a whisper. The doll's head popped up from the well and said, "Fine, but you owe me a hat." The girls erupted into giggles. "A hat?" Emma squealed, shaking her head. "Yup," Jake grinned. "The creepy doll just wanted to look stylish." The girls were laughing so hard, they could barely sit up. What had started as a night of eerie suspense had turned into a fun-filled evening. Dad looked around at his smiling family and said warmly, "That's what Horror Stories Night is all about. A little scare and a whole lot of fun." The family settled back, already looking forward to next year, where even scarier stories would have an even sillier twist. The girls were laughing so hard, they could barely sit up. What had started as a night of eerie suspense had turned into a fun-filled evening. Dad looked around at his smiling family and said warmly, "That's what Horror Stories Night is all about. A little scare and a whole lot of fun." The family settled back, already looking forward to next year, where even scarier stories would have an even sillier twist. Now, let's practice English listening and speaking skills with a repeat after me session from the story, The Horror Stories Night. Are you ready? Let's begin. The Horror Stories Night. It was a cold autumn evening, and the Matthews family gathered in their cozy living room for their annual Horror Stories Night. The room was dimly lit, with shadows dancing on the walls from the crackling fire. Mom, Dad, and their elder son Jake sat on the couch, while little sisters Emma and Lily snuggled together under a big blanket, their eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Who's ready for a scare?" Mom asked, leaning forward with a mysterious grin. "We are," the girls answered, a mix of excitement and nerves in their voices. Mom settled back, took a deep breath, and began. "It was a dark and stormy night," Mom started in a low voice, "and a young girl named Clara was alone in her grandmother's old manor. As the clock struck midnight, she heard a piercing scream from upstairs. Emma and Lily tightened their hold on the blanket. Clara rushed up the stairs and saw a flickering light in her grandmother's room. Trembling, she pushed the door open. The room was empty, but a low, moaning voice came from the wardrobe. She crept closer, heart racing, and as she opened the door, a figure jumped out. The girls gasped, but instead of a ghost, it was just Grandma's old nightgown, filled with pillows, swaying in the wind from a broken window. It seemed the ghost was just upset because the door kept slamming every night. Emma and Lily burst into laughter, the tension dissolving. Dad chuckled. "Nice one, honey, but I think I can top that." The girls turned their attention to him, eager for more. "There's a village deep in the woods," Dad began, "where no one goes out after dark. They say the woods are haunted by the whispering shadows." He paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. One brave boy named Victor decided to uncover the truth. One night he followed the shadows as they floated through the trees, whispering secrets. Emma and Lily leaned forward. The whispers grew louder. "He's here, he's here." Victor's heart pounded, but he kept going. Suddenly, the shadows turned and rushed at him. Dad paused dramatically. Victor froze as they surrounded him. But then they whispered, "Want to join our midnight snack club?" Turns out, they were just hungry bats munching on berries. The girls burst into laughter, imagining the spooky shadows snacking on fruit. Jake grinned. "Okay, my turn. Get ready." Emma and Lily settled down, knowing Jake's stories always had the funniest twists. "There was once a girl named Lucy who found an old, dusty doll in her attic," Jake began, his voice low and eerie. Its red eyes seemed to follow her, and that night she heard a scratchy voice saying, "Lucy, I see you." The girls gasped. Lucy saw the doll at the foot of her bed. She locked it in a closet. But the next night, the voice came again. "Lucy, I'm getting closer." The doll was beside her pillow, smiling strangely. Jake paused dramatically. Terrified, she threw the doll into a well, but as she turned around, he dropped his voice to a whisper. The doll's head popped up from the well and said, "Fine, but you owe me a hat." The girls erupted into giggles. "A hat?" Emma squealed, shaking her head. "Yup," Jake grinned. "The creepy doll just wanted to look stylish." The girls were laughing so hard, they could barely sit up. What had started as a night of eerie suspense had turned into a fun-filled evening. Dad looked around at his smiling family and said warmly, "That's what horror stories night is all about. A little scare and a whole lot of fun." The family settled back, already looking forward to next year, where even scarier stories would have an even sillier twist. Great job today. You've done amazing practicing your English listening and speaking skills with the story, The Horror Stories Night. Keep practicing every day and you'll continue to improve. Don't forget to come back to Speak Peak English for more fun lessons. See you next time.